let's head over to our third and last segment. Let's pick up the pace a bit. We have four last questions to go. So you can start off, Myko.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just start off the future of the hobby. I mean, the, for the the way the hobby sort of restarted, in my opinion, was during the bubble, right? Like not just even restarted, like really spiked from a psychological standpoint. I mean, parang nabitan mga tao sa NBA. Like, the previous season got cut
Yeah.
short, and then the bubble, and then now everyone's stuck at home. So there's that a better opportunity to really spend time with your cards. So that really saw a spike in the card industry. So do you see any other catalyst for sports cards to spike again in the future?
Yeah, I think the continuing development of sports cards being legitimately considered as an asset class is going to be the next catalyst for another boom. Kasi 'di ba, institutional funds are now coming in. Institutional funds are now coming in, smart money is now coming in, and these funds usually are in it for the long term. 'Di ba? It's not like they're going to be able to pull out a huge amount of money in a short amount of time. So when they decide to come into the sports card industry, they're in it for the long haul agad, no? So I think that's going to cause kumbaga sports cards are probably going to be the next painting, 'di ba? These are the next paintings but for the more modern person, 'di ba? Or the less affluent person kasi they're still relatively cheap compared to the really nice paintings out there, 'di ba? So for me, I think that yun yung catalyst. We're seeing players, we're seeing investors coming in with large amounts of money in the sports card market. So, yung new similar to what's happening with Top Shot, 'di ba? New money coming in, 'di ba? New money coming in will cause prices to rise talaga. And it will eventually correct the market inefficiencies, 'di ba? It will eventually correct the market inefficiencies. So I think there's a lot of future for the industry right now.
Okay.
Right. Exciting.
So in the
Exciting.
hobby, there's a lot of a lot of people would like to say that the hobby, from at least from an investment standpoint, it's actually very still. You could argue it's still in its infancy because there's so much, like you mentioned, inefficiencies that people can improve on, people can innovate, people can disrupt. You can talk about um, automated grading. You can talk about um, like star stock coming in. You don't even have to touch the cards. You can just trade cards on a platform and just have the monetary value adjust based on sales. You have Top Shot. So many things in the hobby. So much projects development. We'd like to know your thoughts on what MVP does uh, for constructive criticism or for feedback or whatever with regards to fractional ownership or what MVP calls a card splitting, because the goal of card splitting is to make sports cards way affordable with a
Yeah.
easier cost of entry, because yun nga, like not everyone can afford like the rookie card PSA 10s. So what we try to
Yeah.
do is yun nga, we can buy a PSA 9, PSA 10 of a Tops or a Prism, and then kung ano kaya, whether you can give 10%, 20%,
Yeah.
30. At last week, may nag 100% binili yung whole thing. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like that's our goal at MVP. Make it affordable, whatever you can invest, and yeah, everyone gets a piece of the pie. And there's also players in the states such as Rally, Otis, Collectible, who have sort of different approaches to fractional ownership. But I guess we'd like to know your thoughts on fractional ownership.
Yeah. So I actually saw MVP. I think that was in November or December pa last year. No? So when I first saw it, I said, genius idea talaga. genius idea siya because yun, like you said, it's going to make it affordable for the masses. And number two, this is actually one of the things that can help growth ng sports card industry. One thing kasi we have to, 'di ba, especially in this the one thing in the sports card industry kasi is there's a lot of kumbaga a lot of trash, 'di ba? So to speak. There are so many cards out there. For example, Luka Doncic, there were so many cards of LeBron, Luka Doncic, but only a few of those cards are actually valuable, di ba? Are actually
Right.
relevant,
Right.
are actually going to make you money in the long run. So, since nakaipon lang siya dun sa select few cards na yon, eventually, it's going to reach a point wherein it's going to be out of reach for a lot of people to buy one card kasi it always gravitates towards the rookie cards lang or the short print cards lang. Wala yung mga normal inserts lang. They don't really go up in price that much. So it's important that yan we have groups like MVP allowing people to invest in great quality, 'di ba? PSA 10, I think eventually you're going to offer autographs na, di ba? So
Like,
stuff like
yeah.
that, the really high end stuff.
Yeah.
Di ba? Parang definitely I think that's where you're going to go. But it's important that we allow people or you allow people to do that because it's going to sustain the hobby. Eh. Kasi eventually it's going to get expensive and if it goes to a point where it's unaffordable na for most pero walang MVP kunwari, what will happen? People will stop, 'di ba? People might stop buying it lang or it's going to make the industry less inclusive when we should be doing the opposite thing, 'di ba? We should be making it more inclusive because yun yung doon nakasalalay yung growth ng industry na ito eh, 'di ba? Parang right now may nabibili ka pang 20,000 peso na LeBron James rookie cards pero eventually 2 years, 3 years from now, what if the cheapest LeBron rookie card is 100 na, 150,
Mm.
200? Where would the people who want to get in at that time stand na? They're going to be relegated to the speculatives lang. They're going to be relegated na lang to the inserts that do not really go up in value. Eventually things will die down again, diba? Eventually we might see a repeat of what happened when I was in grade school pa, no? The hobby was growing and then suddenly it died
Junk
down because
wax.
it became
Mm-mm.
too much of a hassle. Yeah, 'di ba? So parang ganon. But yeah, that's why I think it's really really important. No? Kumbaga, uh, not to not to sound too biased, no, but these developments, what you're doing with card splitting, these are important developments in the hobby because these are the things that will really increase the likelihood of the hobby sustaining its growth because it's right today it's not a cheap hobby na eh, especially
Yeah.
from the Philippines, 'di ba? Especially from the
Yes.
Philippines. Ano eh, it's weird that we're basing it on comps abroad but our earning power
Mm.
Yeah.
here, our purchasing power here, the
Very
value of
true.
the peso is
Yeah.
so low compared to dollars, 'di ba? So
Yeah.
eventually if prices keep rising, we're going to get priced out and the only ones left are those that are really really rich, parang ganun na lang. So that's not going to be good at all. That's not a good thing at all for anyone, no? And nakakalungkot isipin pagka ganun yung mangyayari. Kaya these card splitting features, fractional ownership, these are all great developments. Eventually you guys might even start your own card exchange like that. So those are things that are going to be very integral, especially in the Philippines. All the more so in the Philippines. No, parang kumbaga as long as you're able to establish the legitimacy, the credibility, the safety of the cards, I think it's going to serve a huge function in making investing in sports cards healthy for all because even people with 1,000 pesos can now get a PSA 10 Luka Doncic and they're going to peg it on the performance of a PSA 10, not of
Mm-mm.
a raw card, not of a PSA 7, di ba? They're going to peg it on the real actual benchmark a Luka Doncic card. So that's going to be important. Para ma-weed out yung mga wala masyadong value na cards. Everyone will focus on the really, really magiging sophisticated. They're going to learn about, short print is good, RPAs are good,
Mm-mm.
numbered is good, stuff like that. So, mas magiging sophisticated din sila. So, hindi kawawa yung new collectors na maliit ang budget kasi they won't be relegated to buying Chronicles, Illusion, stuff like that.
Well, thank you for sure.
Yeah,
I mean it. It means a lot,
super
especially for
reassuring.
us. And like
Yeah,
Myko said, like this year we're in full expansion mode. We're I guess for a brief background, we're expanding the team, collecting investments from people and companies who would like to see us grow. And the goal this year, I don't think we've announced it ever, but we're developing an app to launch this year. Na rin. So, it's it's reassuring that someone of your stature would give us this insight.
yeah.
Like
Come on.
it's a good
Super
thing
It's
because
reassuring.
really important.
yeah,
Super
What you're doing
hopeful.
is really important. Trust me, what you're doing is
Yeah.
really really important.
Thank you,
that's
So,
thank
good.
you. Woo.
Thank you.
to allow people
Yeah,
to get the best graded rookie card of their
yeah,
favorite player. And yeah, that's going to be very very good for them.
Okay. Um, I just like to touch up on something like we mentioned a while ago, Top Shot, because yun nga, it's a hot topic. It's very, I'd say 50-50. A lot of people are 50-50 on it. Some people love it, some people hate it. There's kind of no in between. So we touched upon it a while ago. So I'd like to know your thoughts because people see it as two things only. It's a fad or it's sustainable long term. So I'd like to ask what's your take between the two.
Yeah, so actually sobrang hirap i mag-comment kay Top Shot because you want to avoid sounding like kumbaga like an old person that's not open to changes.
yeah.
But you also don't want to but you also want to make sure that you understand what the value is of these things are, di ba? Because essentially
Yeah,
they are highlights that you can kumbaga you can collect. And in
right.
terms of the scars, kumbaga, the scarcity of whether it's a painting, it's real estate, it's going to be driven by scarcity talaga. And you have to wonder lang at the very least, um, what will Top Shot do in terms of handling issues of scarcity because they're essentially just kumbaga they're clips of something that you can easily find somewhere else but at least you're going to have your own collection of highlights lang
Right.
kumbaga. So we have to understand how replicable is it ba? How much value are people placing on this particular kind of an asset, no? And that's something right now I can't wrap my head around yet because yun nga for me para siyang pinapasukan because it's the new thing.
Mm-mm.
You see a lot of people making money from Top Shot. You want to make the same money from Top Shot. So you go in without necessarily understanding perfectly whether it's sustainable long term or not. So kaya nga I'm thinking before. Uh one thing siguro that they could do is parang personalized greetings of players to the owner or something like that to make it to really
Yeah, yeah,
increase the rarity, di ba? Parang
yeah,
you buy something, you buy kumbaga let's still call it a moment, pero it's like Luka Doncic is talking to you. It's like it's like something that only you can own talaga. So, parang ganun yung naiisip ko. Kasi right now, if it's just a literal highlight that you can watch on YouTube,
Right.
di ba? Yun. Tapos, the problem here is that, kumbaga, NBA also compiles highlights of a particular player. Di ba? Parang kumbaga, the best of Luka Doncic 2019 to 2020. Di ba? So it's essentially a collection of all of his best moments na. Di ba? So nawawala na yung difficulty of kung wala kasi yun, pwede pang okay ang top shot kasi at least ito nakaipon lahat ng moments ni Luka Doncic dito. Sa collection ko, nandito lahat ng moments niya. Pwede mo siya hanapin sa YouTube pero gagawin mo, titingnan mo yung bawat highlights ng lahat ng laro ng
Mm.
Mavericks. Hahanapin mo dun yung highlight na yun and then i-splice mo pa, i-edit mo. But
Mm.
right now, the highlights of Luka Doncic are already available in a compiled version na, 'di ba? As a compilation, as a mixtape. And
Yeah.
essentially, Top Shots is going to be sort of like your own personal mixtape, 'di ba? It's your own personal
Right.
collection of the moments that you want to keep watching forever, kumbaga. So, yun yung hindi ko pa masyado mag-gets kung gaano ka tagal once na mag-die down yung hype, once na maniwala yung tao na, uy, pwede pa lang malugi pa din sa Top Shot, how would they respond afterwards, 'di ba? Would they still support this new thing or would they suddenly find out na wag na lang, balik na lang ako sa cards kasi at least sa cards talaga there is that scarcity, 'di ba? There is that scarcity, there's the physical feeling of holding the particular card. There's it's numbered. It really looks different naman, 'di ba? It's something that you really cannot find anywhere else, especially if it's physically in your hands. So, yun yung sa akin lang, no? They have to find a way, which I think they probably will naman. But they have to find a way to really make it legitimately fair. Kaya yun yung iniisip ko, oh, this highlight is for, kumbaga, for Justin or for Mike or for Robby. Happy birthday, Robby. Parang ganun. You're buying that
Yeah,
highlight.
yeah,
Good luck on that.
yeah.
And then you're the only one that owns it, di ba? Or a private moment of Luka Doncic in something, anything, di ba? Parang he's practicing alone in the gym and he's nailing
Yeah.
something not widely circulated and really just yours. I think if it goes to that level, may chance talaga si Top Shot. Kasi now, it's only available in this platform and the only way to watch it is if you buy it. You cannot watch this anywhere else. Do you know, di ba, parang, do you know what Luka Doncic did or what Kobe Bryant did, kunwari? What Kobe Bryant did after losing in the NBA Finals Game 6
Oh,
to prepare
that
for
would be
Game
nice.
7?
Yeah.
Di ba? Parang
Yeah.
those private
Yeah.
moments, that's something na, uy,
Right.
wala
Right.
anywhere else. So, feeling ko parang yun. Pagka siguro ginawa nilang ganun, talagang there's the intrigue,
Yeah.
there's the personality of it, there's the privacy, the intimacy of it. Talaga ako, I was the only person going to be able to watch Kobe Bryant make jumpers alone after or talking to
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
If I was only going to, if I'm the only person able to watch that, I would pay a lot of money for that. Di ba?
Mm.
Ganon. So, yun yung something na that's something that siguro they can do in the future to really make it sustainable na talagang, uy, this is cool, this is nice, this is something that only I can watch. Stuff like that. Just imagine, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the
I
only
can
one.
imagine like parang pre-game ritual or nasa dugout sila or they're in the
Yeah.
locker, they're listening
Yeah. Like
or
yung private moment
something.
with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Stuff like that, di ba? Na
Yeah.
mo lang
Great.
usually sa documentaries, but nowhere
Uh-huh.
else.
Uh-huh.
Kaya nga documentaries work really well because you're seeing
Yeah.
something that
Behind
you
the scenes talaga.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Makes
siguro
sense.
ganon, something like that. Parang off the top of my mind.
Gets. Yeah.
Ganon lang.
Yeah. I definitely agree. All right. Man, that's the future of Top Shot for sure. So to end our episode, of course, we got Sir Robbie as our guest, and of course, sir, I want your opinion. So, how do you see yourself with sports cards 5 years from now?
Yeah, well, hopefully with the larger collection, no. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, with the larger and
Kumpleto.
more curated collection. Yeah.
Puro 10 na kumpleto lahat ng
Puro 10 na shiny. But definitely I'll still be here with the hobby for that. And by then, I'm sure I would have grown in sophistication when it comes to investing. I would know better that the things that move prices. I would be able to use sports cards as both a hobby as an investment na sustainable talaga. Seeing that the hobby is growing, yung hindi ka masyado matatakot na nawala na yung fear mo na yung sinasabi ng iba na magka-crash siya. So 5 years from now, that's where I see myself as still a collector, still an investor in sports cards, and kumbaga happy to be where I am because owning sports cards is a part of history talaga. You're owning a piece of that person's legacy, di ba?
Right.
Especially your owning cards, autograph. You're owning these are culturally relevant people, di ba? These are icons talaga. And you at the very least you get to own a piece of a legend. You may not meet him, you may not ever get to know him, but you're owning a piece of them for life. Something that represents your love or your admiration for that particular person.
Right.
So kaya I think the hobby is really here to go. I mean, it's not kumbaga, it's not a question naman. It's been here since the 1920s, 30s, diba? So it's not a new thing to say that 5 years from now it will still be here. But by then, I'm sure, yan, mas madami na kayong cards na ino-offer, di ba? Talagang all kinds of players. May exchange na tayo
Er,
for cards, di ba? Stuff like that.
yeah.
So, a healthy community in the Philippines, definitely.
All right. That's great. That's great. Whew. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that wraps up our um whole three segments. We actually went a bit over time. Usually when we go over time, I message Myko, okay, like we have to cut this question. But then like it was hard because like
Maganda yung usapan.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even
So,
notice. Sorry, sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
It's
No, no,
fine
not a
because
problem at
yeah,
all. Not a
yeah,
problem.
like usually we try to cut like each chat ko si Michael, let's
Yeah.
not do this na ganun, pero like we couldn't cut.
Ganda eh. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you for ano.
Before we wrap it up, do you have anything you'd like to plug in and promote?
Yeah, thanks, thanks. So yun, hopefully it was helpful for you, the discussion. It was a lot of fun. And hopefully it made you see investing in a different light, something that's modern. So we talked mostly about sports cards investing, but just in case you're interested to also get into the world of stock market investing, First Metro Securities is here to help you out. No? So just like MVP with its innovative features, no, First Metro is also innovative in the sense that we're offering online trading for all of our clients. So it's easy to buy and sell Philippine listed companies online. So if you want to know more about it, please feel free to like our Facebook page. So it's First Metro Securities on Facebook. And all you need to know is there regarding our future events, our webinars, our learning events. And you may also want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, just so you can get a good feel for how it is to invest in the Philippine stock market. And as you now know, the the tactics that you can also use when it comes to sports card investing. So yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Lot of fun.
All right. Thank you also, Sir Robbie. There you go, guys. So, just to wrap up our whole episode, we basically a crash course with investing, sports cards. Uh, One of the best tips that we got from Sir Robbie was if you're gonna analyze a stock, it's not always about analyzing the stock per se, but the external factors that would affect the performance of that certain stock. Had a good overvalue undervalued game, and uh, very nice to know that Sir Robbie will definitely be in this hobby 5 years from now. So yeah, guys, just again, if you want to learn more, learn more, check out First Metro Securities on Facebook and on YouTube. And yeah, once again, thank you again, Sir Robbi Samson. I am your co-host.
Thank you also.
Yeah, co-host Myko Garcia.
And I am your host, Justin Alvarado. And of course, it was a pleasure having Sir Robbi Samson. And if you would like to know more about MVP and what we do, of course, follow us on our socials. It's at My Valuable Player on Instagram. And yeah, that wraps up our episode. Stay tuned for the next one. And don't forget, do it different. Thank you so much for watching. If you dig that video, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. And last but not least, don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any video.